All right, Jeff Goodman and Bob Ryan here on the Garden Report on CLNS Media, talking the Boston Celtics. And the big question I have for you right now, Robert Ryan, is Jaylen Brown ready? If Kemba Walker is not ready, which is not going to be to start the season, and if Kemba Walker isn't the Kemba Walker that we remember in Charlotte days, 100% Kemba Walker, is Jaylen Brown ready to be the number 2 guy for a team that can contend for the Eastern Conference Championship?
He's incrementally better annually so far. He is extremely bright, as we know. He's certainly capable of assessing the situation. I think he's capable of making the attempt to do that. Yes, I do. I think he can recognize the need. And I think, and as I say, he keeps continually getting better and better offensively. He was always, an excellent young defender. And so he's really, I don't know, I didn't need to be convinced or anything, but he's really just grown in my mind, on me to the point where I think he's a borderline all-star, and you can argue that. And I think that's high praise.
So I say no. I say Jaylen Brown is not good enough to be the number 2 guy. I say defensively, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're getting up and down in transition, yes. But if you don't have Kemba, if you've got Jeff Teague and Marcus Smart, to me, you're going to be playing more in the half court. And I don't think that is where Jaylen Brown thrives. I still think he struggles with his decision-making in the half court. Mm-hmm. I think he's great as your number 3 guy on a team. I don't think you can count on him every single night. And we've seen that. He's inconsistent with his shot. He's inconsistent with his decision-making, his passing ability. So I think they're in trouble. If Jaylen Brown's got to be your number 2 guy, I think the Celtics are not a team that can win or compete for the Eastern Conference title.
All right. Well, I just think he's shown steady improvement, and he hasn't reached his ceiling. And I think it's conceivable, but I understand what your wariness about this, but I think it's conceivable. But that's all I'm going to say. I think as a duo, I think it's how many better forward pair combos. And of course, he's really a hybrid. He's kind of a 2.5 or 3.
Before.
Yeah, 3.5,
right,
or 3.5 even. Yeah, he's a very useful, adaptable player in that regard, and that's why he's so valuable in defense, of course, because that ability, and you can switch, you can do a lot of things with him. Yeah. No,
I love him. I love his toughness. I love his ability to guard multiple positions. I'm okay now with the contract that they gave him. I didn't love it when they did it, but I understood it, and obviously it was a heck of a pick. What I've said. And I would have tried to do it. I would have tried to trade Jaylen Brown at his peak, which is kind of where he's at right now. I really feel like there's teams out there right now who feel like you do, that he can be a borderline all-star. And I think in this system last year, it was ideal for him. He had enough guys around him. The pressure was off him. He'd have some great offensive nights, but he had off nights too, in which Tatum and Kemba and Hayward could pick him up.
Yeah. Well, Hayward, that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out in general terms, not having Hayward anymore. And because people are they have already forgot how well he was playing at the later stages, right up to
he made life easier. He moved the ball. Like that's where.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Oh, he did, which of course that's a whole topic for him. His whole thought process is astonished. It stunned me, when I'm deviating.
What do you want to see out of Jaylen Brown? What do you need to see for him to get there to where he is a borderline all-star?
Well, I mean, obviously, you've hit it. He's not as consistent a shooter as you'd like to yet. He's gotten better, but is he? Something. He's not going to ever beat Tatum, I don't think, but 80% of that or something. No, I mean that's all. I mean, if he can become, and guys can get better and get. I've seen all the big players get better, and he's just intelligent enough to figure things out, I think, and I have faith that he's going to continue to work on his shot and get better, but he needs to up the grade, to be more consistent. Sure.
I just, again, I think the biggest key for Jaylen Brown is you've got to run a system that plays to his strengths, which are in transition. And he does a lot of that by himself, right? I mean, he gets after the defensive end. He can create opportunities, offensive.
Yeah, but I agree with you. He's better in transition. But I'm simply saying that I'm not saying he's peaked or maxed out in the half court game yet. I'd like to think he hasn't. If he has, okay, then I have to deal with it. But I don't think he has yet.
The other part of this, Bob, the other part of Jaylen and even Tatum is I think they're going to have to work harder for theirs this year because you're not having Kemba and Hayward to make life easier for them. Kemba was just great also, not even setting them up that much, but just bringing them up and that smile and that on the court presence that he had to say, hey, Jason Tatum, when you're 0 for, remember the games he's had where, he started off 0 for whatever it was, to be able to go in his ear and say, hey, man, like, keep shooting. We need you to keep shooting.
That's a very good point you make about it's not just technicalities that we're talking about, why Kemba is important. It was such, and because how many times did we identify the difference between Kemba and the guy who replaced, Mr. Irving, in terms of personality and he was the other guy had been a wet blanket over the team and this guy's a ray of sunshine, and yeah, very different.
Yeah, I just think, again, I think it's going to be tougher for Jaylen Brown this year than it has been because he's going to have the target on his back a lot more this year. He doesn't have as much around him without Hayward and Kemba. And those are, again, two guys that helped him and helped Hayward with moving the ball and not being a selfish player. And Kemba, yeah, he's more of a scorer than a distributor, but he had all the leadership qualities, the intangibles, the pick-me-up to Tatum and Jaylen, in which they almost kind of allowed them. And we see it now with Gordon leaving. I'm not sure Gordon loved it playing with those guys, but you never saw it. You never saw that he was upset, if he was jealous or envious or didn't feel like it was fair that those guys were the face. I think everybody knew Tatum was going to be the face, but I think with Jaylen, I think Gordon Hayward's probably looking at Jaylen Brown saying, like, why? I do as much, if not more, for the team overall than Jaylen Brown, yet I've become just a distant fourth on the depth chart here.
I got a little piece of trivia for you. Aside from the fact that each are point guards, what else do Kyrie Irving and Jeff Teague have in common?
Kyrie Irving and Jeff Teague have in common. They both played in the ACC. I don't know.
Both their fathers played for Boston University.
Oh, that's right. Diedrich Irving, right?
And Diedrich Irving and Sean Teague.
Sean Teague, that's right. Wow, good call.
But I can't take credit. I want to give credit. My friend Bruce Bosley, the one-time SID at Vermont, now forget what he's doing at the moment, but except sending me good information is what he's doing. He's the one that pointed that out to me.
Very good. Very good. And listen, and to me, as many of those as you can bring in, that helps. Jeff Goodman, Bob Ryan here, CLNS Media on the Garden Report, and there you have it. Bob thinks that Jaylen Brown is ready. I'm just not so sure. Not yet. I want to see it, and we will see it soon enough.
Well, we'll have it. He'll get his chance. He'll get a chance to show us.